So, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Chakra Meditation Podcast. And today I am joined by Amir Siddique, who is an author, and he's written a book, and it's called From Suicidal to Serene, which I think is something that we all, well, no, I don't want to exaggerate, but because it's fairly serious. When people are suffering from depression, but sometimes just in daily life we feel a little bit like we need to go from suicidal to serene. So I'm fascinated to hear all about it. So welcome, Amir.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be on your show.
Oh, thank you. Um, so listen, tell me because I know that you went on quite the journey to where you are now. So why don't you give us a little bit of your background and where you've come from to get to where you are now?
Yeah, sure, I love to. So, all my life, I had challenges. I had physical, emotional, and mental challenges, ailment since my childhood. I experienced anger, fear, resentment, bitterness, jealousy, envy, all the emotion on a predominant basis. And as you know, sick mind leads to sick body, and vice versa. I also developed some physical ailment like chronic constipation, chronic cough, frequent urination, and other issues. And my life was so miserable that I was suicidal from 2001 and 2002, year and a half. And this sick body and sick mind led wreak havoc on all parts of my life, from social, personal, sleep, work. It was a hell.
Yeah.
And and the worst part is I did not know I can do anything about it. And as far as my perspective, I took any medicine you can think of, such as Abilify, Paxil, Zoloft, Gapacort, Risperdal, Xanax, you name it,
Wow.
all those. And they did not frankly help me. Sometimes they give me even more anger outbursts. At least that's my experience.
Yeah.
Furthermore, I receive around 55 sessions of cognitive behavior therapy and counseling. It's a lot on a weekly basis, but they didn't seem to help me. Now, I didn't know at that time, but I found out afterwards all those modalities, I mean, are okay, but they don't work well with the issues lie deep in subconscious mind. And
Mm.
I went through complex trauma in my childhood and even earlier life. And that trauma messed my whole life. That's how it was. So that's how my life was for my whole life till June 2015, when I started my healing and self development journey. And from there on, my life started to improve slowly but surely.
What was
So I'm
the
happy to share, yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, what was the I'm interested to know what the catalyst was from having been in that place of real deep physical and psychological pain for a lot of years. What was it that kicked you into that self-development? What was that sort of catalyst?
Yeah, that is a great question. That is a great question. So funny how life works. So I didn't want to improve my life, just my income. So what happened? I got married on December 2013, and I knew that I had to improve my income just to survive. I could not live on the income. And the physical condition was like this. I could not work more hours, second job. So I thought about it. Okay, let's improve my mindset, and who knows, I'll be able to improve some more money. And I watched the movie Secret many times. Movie is great. I believe it. Only problem was they didn't give you a call to action. Okay, this is good. It's a basic version. But how do you move forward?
Yeah.
Easier said than done. And they didn't tell you. So, but I was watching a movie while I got married, and I was all more scared. What the hell is gonna happen? I will be on the street. So by hunch, I started to search the name on teachers on secret, and Bob Proctor, Jonas Zaraf, Ibrahim Hicks, all those. And then I got enrolled into a 1 year Bob Proctor coaching. And when coaching stopped, I was still unhappy. I was still sick. I was still broke. And here's the but part, I acquired understanding. I could improve my life. I have the power within. And that shift in my belief changed the whole life. Because from there on, once you believe there is a hope, I did many modalities, therapies, courses. I never stopped and went on and on. And last year, I improved my life so much that I say I wanted to share with other people because the reason was I read many books. They all talk about either mindset or diet and physical realm. I wanted to connect all those things. That how the true healing, true health is all about body, mind, spirit. You have to connect, all ingredients and how you show any examples. But that's why I wrote the book, and that's how my journey started. I know I gave you a long answer, but that's
No,
how it started.
it's a great answer, and it's fascinating. It's a very much a theme. And the more I talk to people on this podcast who have this message, like, I've got something here that I want to share with people that I think can help people, that can improve people's quality of life, improve their mental health, improve their physical health, whatever it is, like something that we're all searching for, which is that basic level of contentment and peace, if you like. I find it really interesting that the majority of those people have suffered through, they have hit rock bottom. And you sounds to me like you really did hit rock bottom. And sometimes it does take that. But it's also interesting because you're not the first person that I've talked to who has said that watching that movie, The Secret, has been a quite a big changing, a pivotal moment in their lives. Maybe it should be compulsory viewing for everybody as soon as they come out of school, or even, like age 15, right? You've got to watch this, because I think introducing people to the idea that they have it, their life and how they feel and is within their control. It sometimes feels not true. And I think that's why we need to talk about it a lot. And I think what I want to ask you about is, in everyday life, stuff, just the stuff of life, the administrative nightmare that can be living can sometimes just be really overwhelming. And it sometimes can feel really out of your control. It can feel like, well, there's nothing that I can do to change this situation, whatever it is, because somebody else has the power, or it's just a stuck situation. So what would your answer be to that sort of issue that I feel like that's a common enough thing. And there's people who are on their journeys who want to search and they find different modalities and read books and so on. But for the people who are, going, well, it's all very well saying that, but actually real life just gets in the way every single time. So what do you say to those people?
Okay, that's a really good question. I think it's all about belief. And it says, belief create your reality. And the stronger the belief, the the more helpful for you. So if you have a strong belief, you create your own reality, and you have the power within. Once you realize this, then it becomes easier. Don't get me wrong. I mean, in this 8 years, I got some patches where I got down, but I knew. So I came back quickly, maybe some few weeks, not like long time, because I had the belief. So you have to. have a belief and faith. The way I see, people give labels, suicide, depression. It all comes down to lack of hope. If you have a hope, suppose you don't have any good job, you don't have any life, you're just miserable, sick, but you have a hope, you will not think about committing suicide. So
Mm,
it's two words, hope and belief. That's what it comes down to.
yeah. And engendering that hope is all about, so I mean, I'm interested because instantly I go into problem solving mode quite often. It's like
Yeah.
with these things is like, right, so hope, we got to work on the heart chakra and this and that, all of self-love and all of that sort of thing. But what is your prescription? So in your book, From Suicidal to Serene, I read the blurb on it, and it sounds really interesting because it's, it takes you through your journey, but alongside, but that in itself is the sort of the self-help element, which I think is always a really nice way to have a kind of a self-help book, if you like, that actually, illustrates how this manifested in your life. um but what were the modalities, if you like, that you used to through your healing journey, through your self-development journey?
Yeah, so I use many modalities, and they all help me to some extent. I have seen EMDR session, EMDR therapy. Yeah, I mean, it helped me some. I received many hypnotherapy session. Uh, they helped me some. I consulted a functional medicine doctor to treat me the whole person, not just me. And he helped me and give me some supplement, help me with my body level. So if you feel good, you think good. If you think good, you feel good. It goes both
Mm,
ways.
yeah.
Uh, and but I would say the two things really help me and I still use. Of course, they're all helpful. EMDR, hypnotherapy, acupuncture, supplement, healthy diet, uh, reading book, but two things, that is meditation and forest bathing. And forest bathing is like connecting yourself through nature. And I shared a whole chapter in my book, chapter 4, how I discovered forest bathing, not through reading a book or article, on my own journey. Nobody told me about that. And if I just feel really depressed, something, I go sit down on, like in a park, quiet place, took my shoes off, turn my phone off for an hour or so. I just feel peaceful, and the confusion goes away and I get answer. I'm not saying the problem goes away, no, but I get answer. And of course, meditation. And I meditate twice a day. So
Mm.
these two are the most, but of course, all those help me and I do them.
Yeah. No, I love that because in from where I'm, the perspective that I look at that in, forest bathing, like going to sit, and when I think of forest bathing, I always sort of imagine one of those beautiful forests that where the floor is covered in soft, dry moss, and you can just lie down and it's just really soft and comfortable, and the trees are just, and you can take yourself there in a visualization if you're able to visualize, and in meditation, and it's a beautiful thing to do. But essentially what you're doing when you're connecting with you're grounding yourself, you're connecting yourself with the earth, you're basically enlivening your root chakra, so you're kind of giving yourself that base foundation energy that you need to survive. And that always helps with getting yourself in perspective and like seeing things from a real, a good, from a good point of view. And then the other thing, meditation, that is opening up your crown chakra. Meditation, the answer to any question at the crown chakra is always meditation. But that allows you to connect with the universe, to connect with the wholeness of the world and the universe and energy and your beliefs. And so in those two solutions, you're basically top and bottom, you're grounding and you're connecting. And then from there, with those two open, given that everything else you've sorted out, your digestive system, so your solar plexus is okay, you're exercising a little bit, you've got some movement going, so your sacrals are open, you have a belief and you have hope in your heart's open. Then we've got the throat, and we often find a lot of blockages there in terms of like expressing how you feel. But yeah, with those two big important centers at the top and the bottom open. I love that as your solution. That's perfect.
It works for me. So that I can say. Yeah, that's how I wrote my book. Like you said, it's about my own experience. So I don't tell somebody what to do, but here's what I did and how I felt. And you're happy to choose whatever, yeah, resonate with you.
Yeah.
That's how the
I mean,
book
this
is
is, I
written.
think, the really important thing is that when people are in this place of stuckness and they're searching and they're like, I know there's more and I know I want to grow and I want to get out of this way I'm feeling. It's uncomfortable, it's the physical stuff, ugh, horrible. They don't know where to start, like where to go. So this is why, it's really useful to, and there's never a one size fits all. You've got to try a little bit of everything, and some things are just going to really sit and some things aren't. So I mean, in your case, what was, obviously watching The Secret was the sort of catalyst, and then from there, what was the next bit that like really got you? Where did you go to next after that?
Yeah, so I wrote my book, and the book is about conversation, what it means to be happy and healthy. And as my book line says, healing is a journey. It's not like, boom, you overnight heal. Sure, if you have a less problem, less trauma or issues, you can get healed quicker. But it's a journey. You have to just it's not static, it's dynamic, it's moving. So I wrote the book, and I am working on to be a life coach and a public speaker. And same topic, I wanted to get message across any medium I can. So
Hmm.
that's my two more I'm working on. And of course, some social media too. So
And if somebody, I mean, obviously I'm going to ask you a question and I already know the answer. My question is like, if somebody is starting off on this journey and they don't know where to head to first, obviously your answer is going to be buy my book. But if
no,
you're just talking to somebody, what would you, to my listeners who are engaging, what would you advise? What do you suggest? What's the first thing that they can do to make this shift in their mindset? Because I know that your big thing is like, once you change your mindset, everything else is just going to fall from there. So
yeah.
how do you go about changing your mindset from telling yourself that everything's rubbish and everything always goes wrong, and therefore that being the case, to being a more positive one?
Uh, that is a great question, and of course, I have to say it's depend on individual basis. Having said that, having said that, I always say either you can have fear or you can have faith. You cannot have both fear and faith. And reading a book give you understanding. So of course I discussed with you all the modalities I did, but reading book about I read many books, and they gave me awareness and how everything is connected and how things are. Uh, but the problem is reading a book take focus. You have to be able to focus, and I can understand. So people can listen to book or listen to a podcast, things like them. The bottom line is it's like awareness or understanding. Once you have understanding, then you don't have fear. But if you have a fear, you don't have understanding. You cannot have both. How you get it? There are many ways. So of course, book is not the only one, but you know, I use book to gain understanding. I read many books.
And do you have because my background is yoga. That's where I started my sort of journey, if you like. Um, and it's interesting because it just felt, I remember going to a bookshop one day and just picking up this book. It was called Teach Yourself Yoga, and I read a couple of, the intro, and I was just like, this is for me, this is my thing. And I, it just felt like this is it. I'd never been to a yoga class in my life. I just picked up this book. I was like, this is it. And I found a class, and then here we are, 20, 30 years later. But like how, I'm trying to think how to pose this question. So yoga for me was my starting point. And I just happened upon it, and I wasn't really searching for it. So how do people, how would you advise people to go about searching for their thing that's going to be the spark that's going to lead them to a life of contentment and being able to be serene?
I believe the answers are within. So you say yoga is your thing, but if you, like I said before, if you're confused, don't know what to do, people say, "What should I do? What should I do?" What all those things. I don't ask. I used to, "What should I do? What should I do?" But I go to uh park. Of course, I can't go to forest every day, but I
Mm,
can go to park and turn my phone off, and I just, completely just no agenda, no attachment, and just shoes off, completely connect, and answers comes in. So I think everybody can do that. I
mm.
mean, you don't have to buy a book, you don't have to learn how to do yoga, just maybe an hour investment if you do maybe a weekly basis, and then answer comes in, and from those answer, it's like intuition or hunch, and from there you decide where do you want to go.
Do you know what? I think that is the most perfect answer, because it's something that everybody can do. Even if you live in the middle of a massive city, you can always go and find a green space. And if you make that commitment to sit down without looking at your phone, because that's without that distraction, and just allow yourself to just be. And you can spend, yeah, I think this is such a perfect solution, because the things will come up, as you sit there and you just people watch for a bit. Say you are in a city and there's, it's a busy park, you can people watch. That will open up your mind to how you're thinking, and what um what works for you, or what resonates for you, what feels like a natural. I love that. I think that's such a beautiful, simple answer. That's really
That's how,
truthful.
yeah, that's how I do. I'm not gonna say buy my book. Of course, my book has detailed steps, but to starter, you can just do that. That's what I do if I feel stuck from time to time.
I love that. I think that that sums up, if that's the one message to for this podcast, is when in doubt, just go and sit, take your shoes off, go and sit outside, unless it's really cold, in which case still go outside, just wrapped up, maybe keep your shoes on. I'm sitting here in February in the UK, and it's like, I don't really want to. Having said that, yesterday I had a really painful foot. My foot was starting to hurt, and it's a long-standing thing that I've got. And I was out for a walk, wrapped up in my coat and so on, and was walking by this stream, and I suddenly had this urge, my foot, this painful foot, I just needed to put it in the water. I just was like, I have to put my foot in that water and into that mud, because I just need to. So the person I was walking with thought I was absolutely crazy. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I just have to sit here and put my foot in this river. I'm sorry. But it helped. It really was fantastic. So yeah, I can't emphasize that enough, that it's, if you're lucky enough to live in countryside of whatever sort, not in a city, then the benefits of being out in nature, and connecting with Mother Earth is just one of the biggest, most important gifts that we can give ourselves. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Amir. Thank you so much for taking the time today to talk to me.
Sure, it was my pleasure.
Yeah. And so your book, the From Suicidal to Serene, I will put that in the link to that in the show notes for everybody, if they want to go and look you up. So thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. And just one thing I like to mention, because you said about the yoga. So I took classes of yoga to Hatha yoga. So I do yoga as well, but not on a regular basis. I suppose I have other priorities, but I intend to go deeper into this kind of a yoga. Just wanted to mention, briefly, I took I mean, like 13 classes one semester. in my yoga studio, Thai yoga, and I did that. So I do that too, and I like it. It's just that I'm working on other stuff, and it just have to be prioritized. What can I do first and later on?
Yeah, no, that's the thing, that all of this work, so-called work that we do for ourselves in self-development journeys, it has to fit in with the real world. It has to, we're not all able to just take ourselves off for a month-long, silent retreat to go and sort of our stuff out. It has to fit in with the real world. You still got to pick the kids up and make dinner and pay the bills. So, that doesn't go away.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
correct. That's
So,
correct.
yeah, it's been lovely to talk to you. Thanks, Amir.
Thank you.